Welcome, everybody, to this week's live stream. I have a special announcement. I'm going to wait a little while before we get on board with the special announcement. But I'd like to welcome Gringisimo, Kai, Blaine Doris, Jesse. How are you doing? Gringos are us. And Anna, you're here. Matt Hansen. Hey, how's it going? Um, I'd like to say hello to everybody. Well, I always catch up with what I've been up to. Um, I personally have been up to still working on the house. um, and dying to retire. How and jet lag? How's it going? Um, I'm still working on the house. We got the countertop. We've got the floors in, but uh, now it's the actual countertops in our kitchen that we need to work on. So we're still cleaning up the mess from our little adventure in replacing our floors. So I've been really busy still, but I'm still keeping up this weekly live stream so that you can ask me any questions. So I don't get out of touch with you guys, and hopefully I can get back into the swing of videos. But now we're coming on to holiday season, so I'm not sure. um, Let me see. I'm going to start off with the first question here. I'm not sure if Gringisimo is still here. Mal Larky, how's it going? Um, Gringisimo, do you think the shooting in Queretaro is a one-off or a new trend? Actually, Gringisimo, there's not a lot of information about the shooting, what the motives were for the shooting. I don't want to I don't want to jump on a guess because we don't know if it has to do with some type of, it could have been an isolated incident. It was at a nightclub. It could have been two rival gangs or whatever you might, or criminal elements, or someone got mad at somebody. I don't want to judge on whether it's a trend or if it's a one-off thing. And like I said, we're going to have to get a little bit of more information on that before I can tell you what I think about that shooting. Now, it is very rare. I will tell you that. Not a lot goes off in Querétaro. So, yes, it's very different situation, very unique. Right now, I don't know of any situations going on in Querétaro. There's a lot of situations going on in the state of Guanajuato, but it's more of a how would you say, territorial type thing. It's a battle with one of the cartels here in Guanajuato. So I don't really know. I don't think it's built into Querétaro. So really, I haven't gotten any intelligence as far as Querétaro becoming any kind of, I don't know, disputed territory or anything like that. So let's not judge before before we get more information, because there's not even a motive. Usually we'll hear that, usually in news reports, they have an idea of what happened, and I think they're still trying to sort it out right now. And Blaine, hola, now that President Trump is our new president and he's WP immigration policy, the stay in Mexico, how will this affect, or will it affect temporary and permanent residents in Mexico? Well, let me see. She's going to try it again. Hey, Stephanie, how's it going? I would like to try it again. Do you think President Trump immigration policy will affect those in Mexico, temporary and permanent residents by Mexico, retaliating tit for tat? Now, you know what, Blaine? I don't think it's going to hurt that much for permanent and temporary residents in Mexico. To be honest with you, I haven't followed the politics that much, but a lot of times what Trump says and what Trump does are two different things. And I think his revenge, if he's going to be plotting any kind of revenge, to be honest with you, it's going to be on certain people, politicians, and that kind of thing. I don't think it's going to be against the population in general, in the sense that maybe a population group. But as far as, hey, you left the United States. Now, the only thing is, it's going to be interesting to see how polarized the people in the United States are towards people that have left. But I will say that we're going to see a mass exodus of people from the U.S. Whether that happens or not because of the residency requirements, we'll have to see. But I think, hey, Lambden, how's it going? Feliz Domingo. So, one thing that we're going to have to see is what he does versus what he says. Driving. So let's just see what happens. Mel Larkey driving north in exactly 1 month from today, headed to Eagle Pass instead of Nogales this year. Oh, great. Awesome, Mel. Tariffs on Mexico, perhaps. We'll have to see. A lot of people have said that the tariffs would be very detrimental to the U.S. Economists have said that the inflation will even go higher. And there have been, and I have seen some expert opinions that, well, like I said, Trump says a lot of things and he does something different. And what a lot of people have predicted is he won't end up putting the tariffs, but he'll end up threatening that he is. And then he'll call a victory and say, I didn't have to put tariffs because everybody listened to me because they're so scared of the United States. That's what I see probably more. It would be suicide, to be honest with you, to place tariffs on the U.S. The U.S. is a consumer economy. We'll have to see what happens. I don't know. The free trade agreement is coming up pretty soon. And it's going to expire, so we'll have to see. Listen, how's it going, Henry? How's it going? Thanks for joining us tonight. So that's one of the things that we have to see. We're going to have to see if that actually happens, and if it doesn't happen, or if the tariffs actually happen or they don't happen. And if they do happen, we're going to have to see what happens to the U.S. That could affect a lot of things. It's going to affect prices for people in the U.S., but it'll also affect maybe even the exchange rate. And it could affect the exchange rate in both the directions, because it could affect the exchange rate in the direction of the Mexican peso getting stronger because the economy is getting stronger, but it could also affect the Mexican peso going down in value because investor confidence may not be there, because a lot of people have invested in Mexico. A lot of corporations and stuff and large time investors have invested in Mexico with the idea that their number one trading partner is the United States. And so we'll have to see. Some things that he does are off the cuff, so I have no idea. Sometimes he says things and doesn't do them, or makes up an excuse why he didn't do them, or that he won anyway. So we're going to have to see. So... Yeah, Jesse. Actually, tariffs would be bad for everybody. And one thing that I was looking at today actually just came up in a podcast that I was listening to, and there's a lot of rhetoric that we have to get, and not we, but the United States has to get a hold of China. We have to punish China because they're communists, and we're going to punish them by not trading with them or putting tariffs or putting high tariffs on them. And if you look at China's exports to the BRIC countries and other countries, they have more trade. The trade they do with the United States is a drop in the bucket. So if the United States says quit trading with us and they say see you later, China's still going to be making billions and billions of dollars, trillions of dollars. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Will the tariffs work? I don't know. I think it's just going to be really bad for the American people. And there's an idea that you can collect revenue with get rid of income tax by collecting tariffs, which used to be the way the United States used to work. Believe it or not, a little history lesson is that's how we used to collect revenue in the United States, was through tariffs. But as the population grew, I hate to say it, but you do need the income tax. With the rate that they spend in the United States government, there's no way you're going to collect enough tariffs to pay anything substantial. So we'll have to see what happens. There's a lot of political rhetoric going on. I don't know. So we'll have to see. Yeah, it's tariffs. Tariffs are a hammer that Trump likes to threaten with. Yes, and it's a negotiating tactic. I've read that many times that he likes to negotiate that way. The thing about Trump is he's a businessman, and in business you end up threatening, your partners or your adversary and everything else, and he's used to operating like that. And tariffs are a thing that can scare a country because you scare the country, and that's when I was talking Gringos or Us that possibly what may happen is that he may threaten the tariffs and then say, "Oh, we got what we wanted. We don't have to put tariffs," and I won. That's probably the most likely scenario. But we don't know. He's very off the cuff, and we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Even with this Project 2025, supposedly the Trump campaign said they have nothing to do with it, but and then the media's been saying no. The conservatives are behind this Project 2025. I am the type of person that is not official till it's official. And so I don't want to say, oh, yeah, we're going to end up having Project 2025. Some of the stuff in there is very scary. But like I said, we'll have to see. Michael, Trump's foreign policy isn't too great, especially when speaking of China, Mexico, Russia, Ukraine, for real. Yeah, it's not too great. He claims that everyone's scared of him and everything else, but it's not his foreign policy. Even from former people from his administration has said that he has no concept sometimes. I don't know. Like I said, we'll have to see what he does and what, the last time he was in office, I will say that there was a lot of people that I guess that are on his bad side now. Probably the ones he's going to go after before he'll go after permanent and temporary residents in Mexico. But there's a lot of people in the administration that kept him from doing a lot of things because they were already established government. They knew how the government worked and everything, and they kept him, and they refused to do certain things. But the only thing is, is that now they're saying that he's going to surround himself with people that are going to do what he says. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Human nature is different. No matter how many people are going to be loyal, sometimes human nature will dictate that I'm going to do the right thing. Sometimes it's like I'll do the wrong thing for the power. So we'll see what happens. Without overthinking it, are you, Laura? How's it going, Laura, by the way? Without overthinking it, are you and your loved ones better off living in Mexico over the USA? Share your top 2 reasons. Thanks. Actually, I love Mexico, to be honest with you, Laura. I fell in love with Mexico. I think Mexico, you can be better off living in Mexico over the USA. I feel I'm better off. I'm better off in a lot of ways. I always put other YouTubers down for doing these videos about the cost of living. But I will say that that's one of the number one reasons why people come here. Now, I wouldn't put that as my number one reason. I would say that it's a good reason. But my top 2 reasons, to be honest with you, because here's the thing. The cost of living isn't going to work unless you're willing to adapt to the culture and you're open-minded open to the new culture. And that's one thing that I love here is the new culture. And also, I'm a lot healthier here. As a matter of fact, Gringos Are Us made a good comment right now. I'm a lot better off health-wise. I'm a lot more relaxed here in the than in the United States. When I go back to the United States, I'm retired, okay, and I go back to the United States to visit family, and I always get stressed for whatever reason. And here is total peace. And I wouldn't say for political reasons. I would say the top two reasons is I love the culture. And the second reason is that I'm in better health here. And I think that's better than living in the USA, to be honest with you. I had a bad experience with the healthcare system in the USA. I almost died of cancer because they wouldn't take care of me because, God forbid, I had to get 50 million insurance approvals. And the ironic thing was when I came to Mexico, my health insurance said, not a problem. We'll pay for it. Just send us the bill. We'll reimburse you. So it's amazing how much it's bad. The other thing too that Mal brought up a good point, and I was going to bring that up about the cost of living. I live a lot better here. I will say we were just talking about this, my wife and I, yesterday. That, for example, I own my house here. I bought my house. Okay, so since I bought my house here, what happens is I only have to pay property taxes, right? Well, property taxes you have to pay them back in the United States too, but my property taxes are $300 a year. So I don't pay monthly rent. I don't pay. Now, my house back in Texas, I own that too. My house back in Texas was half the value of this house. And I was already up to $11,000 in taxes on my property in the United States. That means I would have to still pay $1,000 a month for my house to live in my house in the U.S. So those are the ways. Now, Mal said, I will say it's more affordable, but inflation is real in Mexico. Yes, it is, and it did, and prices have gone up, and as well as the rest of the world. But what I will say is those are the little things that, cost of groceries. I'll be honest with you. We go to City Market. We spend probably not U.S. prices. We spend a little bit less. Our grocery bill is better, but we shop. We don't shop at the. We do shop at the market too. But if I just exclusively go to City Market and I go out to eat every day and I spend as much as I spend in the United States, there's other things that I don't spend as much money on, if that makes sense. So that's why I say the cost of living. The only thing is that I advise people not to just come here for the cost of living. So let me see here. Jesse was talking about the war on the cartel, on the sea cartel. But I'm trying to see here if Jesse had made it. I don't know if you're talking about let me see here. Utilities are way cheaper, but I'll tell you what, Mal, even my utilities in Texas, like I said, we're very close to what they are here in a sense. Yeah, my internet's cheaper. I don't pay as much for my cell phone. And my water bill probably is a lot cheaper, but my electricity, it runs about, but it's cheaper. Don't get me wrong, but it's a lot more, how would I say? It's a lot more comparable with my house in Texas in the sense of, yes, it's cheaper, but I'm still paying not a decent amount, but because I was on an electrical co-op there in Texas. So with the electricity was a lot cheaper. But here's the thing, there's a lot of things that are cheaper here, like I was talking about, that what I mean by cheaper is I'm not spending that $1,000 a month. I own my car. I'm not spending $800 a month on a car payment. I'm not spending, and here's the thing, I wouldn't be able to afford a car if I was paying $1,000 a month to maintain my house. And that's just paying for the taxes. Okay. That's not paying for the insurance and everything else. But I mean, you're looking at $1,100 a month just to live in my house that I own. So that's what makes it different. And one thing Gringos or Usher says, there's a lot of things that are more expensive. Gas was maybe more, but we use a lot less of it down here. And the same thing with me. I live 4 miles from the central. I don't have to go very far. A tank of gas in my truck gets me along for 2 weeks. So maybe I would spend $200 a month in gas, where I was spending $300 or $400 or $500, $600 back in the States with cheaper gas. So it took 2 years before my C surgery and had a PHB plan. Yes, cheaper cost of living is good, but less stress. No more DC area rush attitude. But the LA culture is how they honor it is great. Yeah, it actually Dying to Retire podcast. I did time in DC, and it is a rush type of culture. And I had the FEHB insurance, but like I said, it was like you have to get an approval to get and here's the weird thing was, even without an approval, I called the MRI scan people when they said I needed an MRI, and the MRI people were telling me, hey, we have our next appointment's like way out. So it didn't do me any good, even if I was willing to pay myself. You went to the new Walmart in Cancun. Yeah, actually, Anna, you're going to find you very close to U.S. prices in Cancun because of being a tourist destination. I find groceries, to be honest with you, but see, here's the thing. I have found groceries to get very expensive because I used to be able to fill up a cart with 2,000 or 3,000 pesos. I mean, literally fill up a cart to the brim. Now it's probably around more like 5,000 to 6,000 pesos. But I also shop in an area, a supermarket that's a little bit more expensive. Walmart is going to be cheap in different areas. Monterrey, it's cheaper, but in places like Cancun, it's going to be a lot more expensive. That's where shopping at local places is going to get you a lot further. Now, with that being said, 6,000 pesos, which is, I mean, if we take it 20 to 1, is at $300. Okay. When I go back to the United States, what $300 buys me is not a full cart of groceries. So, yes, the price has doubled since I've been here. And I see a lot of prices that are very similar to things in the U.S. As a matter of fact, most U.S. goods in the grocery store, most of the stuff that's brought in from the U.S., like your Oreo cookies, brand name stuff, if you buy the Oreos, yes, it's going to cost you probably what it costs in the United States or even more. But if you buy the Mexican brand of Oreos, it's going to cost you like a quarter of that. So it's just a matter of what you're looking at. Like, for example, when we want to save money, we go to the market. We buy our fruits and vegetables at the market. Then if we want to we have another Soriana, which has not as good quality vegetables. We'll go and buy them because it's closer to our house, but it's cheaper. But then the quality is not as good. My wife really likes the quality of City Market. Well, City Market is going to cost me like it almost costs in the United States. So it just depends where you shop. I just have the luxury of having a little bit more disposable income to be able to go to City Market versus other people that can't. But it's all a personal choice. And like I said, I'm saving money where I otherwise would be spending in other places. Laura, New Mexico property taxes are not as high as Texas. Yes, having no mortgage, no debt, and good health make better anywhere we live. For myself, it comes down to the kindness and sense of the community. Yeah, actually, Laura, that's a good thing. That's what's important about coming to Mexico. I am aware that property taxes aren't as much. I had a house in Santa Fe, and instead of paying 11,000, that house was worth more than the house in Texas. And that house basically was at, I think the property taxes were at like $4,000 versus $11,000 a year. But still, you're paying that $400 a month or $500 a month to maintain a house. And Santa Fe, I was in Santa Fe, and I'm not kidding you, 300. I would go down for just the essentials down to the supermarket, and I was spending 100, 200, $300 every time for like not even a quarter of a cart. Now Santa Fe's a different story than other parts of New Mexico, though. It's kind of a unique situation, but a sense of community is what's very, very inviting down here. A sense of kindness is very, you'll find that the Mexican culture is very friendly, very kind. And that's why I say there's no stress. You go into, you go into a supermarket here, whether you speak the language, you don't speak the language, people try their best to, the only time that I see that there's problems is when people start getting attitudes, or I want things to be like the US, or you better speak English. You're always going to have those people, no matter where you go. I mean, New Mexico is not a special case in this. No matter where you go, tourists do this all the time. American tourists do it overseas all the time. And call it ignorance, call it whatever you want to call it, sense of entitlement, all of that stuff. But that's an exception to the rule. And most people aren't going to, yes, maybe Americans or Canadians get a bad rap for having this attitude. But most Americans and most Canadians that come down here don't have that attitude. And those that do end up going back home, because they can't handle the culture here. But if you get yourself immersed in the culture, that's what's more important. I mean, we're even friends with the people that work with us in our house. We sit down and eat lunch with them. I mean, that's kind of stuff you just don't do in the United States. And that's what's great about Mexico. Yeah, home insurance, ANA, and property taxes. It's the same thing in Texas. Florida's another no-income tax state, and that's how I always tell people, when you go to a no-income tax state, because I lived in Texas, and people say, wow, no income tax. Yeah, when you go to a non-income tax state, and actually, Laura, New Mexico's an income tax state, state income tax. So, yeah, in Texas, you don't have state income tax, but then they make it up. Trust me, in their sales tax, and I'm almost sure in Florida, sales tax is really high too. But sales tax in New Mexico and property taxes are lower, but then you have an income tax. The only reason why I wasn't a permanent I was for a little while in Albuquerque when I worked in Albuquerque, and I did have to pay state income tax. But that's the only thing that saved me in New Mexico when I had a part-time residence there, and my residence was in Texas, so I didn't have to pay that state income tax. Dying, less stress. The main reason why I'm coming down, that and fear of the police. Actually, Jesse, everybody has their reasons for moving down, but less stress is definitely one of the reasons. Like I said, I'm in love with the culture, and that's the top one reason for me. Do you know anyone who spends their winter? Kenneth, welcome, Kenneth. Do you know anyone who spends their winters in Baja California on the beaches? Is this something you have done? Thank you. It's not something that I have done, Kenneth, but I will tell you, I know someone that does it. They actually own a beachfront home, almost retired in Mexico, Brighton West. Brighton has a YouTube channel called Almost Retired in Mexico. He actually is from, I want to say, Seattle. And he actually has a house in La Paz, in Baja, a beachfront home. And he actually bought a beachfront home, and he actually spends the summers. Wait a second. He spends the winters. I'm sorry. He spends the winters in Baja and then spends the summers back in Seattle. But you could do it the other way around. A lot of people, Kenneth, coming from Canada, love the Baja La Paz area, and they also like the Rivera Maya area to try to get away from the cold. But it's very common here, Kenneth. There's some people that own actual second homes here in Mexico that move down here. I Did I was going back and forth from the United States, but I was, like I said, retired, so I was more permanently here in Mexico. Um, I haven't uh, I haven't spent winters in Baja. I've only been to Baja once, to be honest with you. I've spent more time in the central part of Mexico and the northern part of Mexico than anywhere else. Um, so it's definitely I haven't done it, but it's definitely something that a lot of people do. Um, and actually, Brighton, because he's from Seattle, he comes down in the wintertime, goes down to Baja in the wintertime, or comes down to Mexico in the wintertime, and then he goes back into Seattle in the summer. So he's on the West Coast, so he does it to beat the weather, and actually he's got a really great channel. He actually did a parody on me. I sent him a shirt so he could do a parody on me. And I actually have had people thinking that he was making fun of me. And it is kind of a parody making fun. But some people said, "Have you seen this?" And I'm like, "No, no, 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 no." I actually sent him the shirt, and he had actually done one of another YouTuber, and I actually said, "That is so cool. If you do one on me, I'll even send you a shirt." So he actually does a parody of me, but he is a very good resource for Baja, and he talks about it all the time. Living part time there, he talks about living full time there, and all of that stuff, and he covers all the stuff. Um, the medical system in the USA is broken. Yeah, Mal, it is, and I'm an actual proof of it. Yep, appointment for hearing is set back to in October after the testing, and the appointment to go over hearing aids isn't until December. Yeah, and actual dying to retire. It was funny because, like I said, when I was going to get surgery here in Mexico, the insurance company was like, just send us the receipts. And I was like, wait a second, don't I have to get like prior approval, blah, blah, blah? No. And it was explained to me it was because it's a lot cheaper, and the insurance company doesn't lose any money. They lose less money paying for the cheaper surgery or whatever. For example, and this was 6 years ago. Medical stuff has gotten more expensive, but I had a surgery on the neck that discovered my cancer. That surgery cost approximately $9,000. I was in and out of the hospital in 3 days. Here in the United States, that surgery would have cost in the tens and twenties and thirties, and maybe even up to $50,000. So the insurance company was saying, even if you don't need it, us shelling out $10,000 is better than us shelling out $50,000. So it was really waking experience that, wow, even the insurance company admits it, that is broken. So, Michael, man, the dollar right now is gaining foothold against the peso. Yeah, it is, and I think it's going to keep gaining some foothold for a while. Until we see what Trump does, to be honest with you, I think you're going to see some, and especially, and here's the thing, like I said, Trump's threatening tariffs, all sorts of things. So it's bringing investor confidence down. So if I'm a big company and I'm looking at tariffs, well, let's wait to see if the tariffs come out. I'm not investing in Mexico until I see what happens or what the situation is, or if I can still make money. So I think as long as all these unsettled things are still unsettled, like stay in Mexico and tariffs and deportations on all of that stuff, because even deportations can here's the problem with deportations, and I'm going to tell people from a frontline perspective, there's no way you're going to deport that many people. There's no physical way. I mean, you could hire 100,000 border patrol agents, and you're not going to deport that many people. The second thing is the process of deportation. You have to return a person to their country. If the country doesn't accept them, what do? It's just like in the United States, and I'm going to give a perfect example. I was with an agency before the Homeland Security was created, before ICE and HSI and Homeland Security investigation, all of that stuff was created. I came from an agency that was basically part of the Treasury Department, U.S. Customs Investigations, and that's where I started. That's how I ended up in HSI, or Homeland Security Investigations. And here's the thing with Homeland Security. is when I was a customs agent, so I didn't know anything about immigration, and we went in, we decided to do this big operation where we were going to deport people that had been, I guess you might say, convicted of sex crimes. And there was this doctor that had got convicted of rape 20 years before, 10 years before, and he was from Cuba. So I arrested this guy, not knowing any better. I arrested the guy. I set him up for deportation. And about a month later, I get a call from Immigration Citizenship Services saying, "Oh, we need some information because we're going to give this guy a work permit." And I'm like, "Well, I thought I deported him. Why does he need a work permit?" "Yeah, but he's from Cuba. You can't deport a person from Cuba because Cuba won't accept him. So he's kind of stuck. So he's illegally here and I actually asked him, so he's illegally here in the country, but legally here because you're going to give him work permission." He goes, "Yep, that's exactly right." And immigration law is the only law where you can illegally be in the country, but legally at the same time. And it baffled my mind. So those things, like, where are you going to send a Cuban? Or where are you going to send a different country that's not going to accept them back? Well, the solution is send them to Mexico. But then that creates another political problem. So we'll have to see what happens. I think it's just going to be a lot of rhetoric. There's going to be a lot of media. There's going to be a lot of stuff to basically make the public think that we're doing what we said we're doing. But yeah, will deportations go up? Probably. But will it be at the magnitude that's promised in the political campaign? There's no physical way you can do it. Now, what are they going to do with how are they going to deport all the people from, where are they going to send all the people with the country? And then here's the other problem too, is even identifying some of these people. You got to get travel documents to send them back to their country. This all takes work. For every one person that gets deported, it takes a lot of work to get them back. So it's more than just putting them on a plane and sending them back. And I don't think the American public understands that. And so we'll probably see more fear and stuff, and that people are going to get deported. But we'll have to see what they're going to do. If they really do that, of the stay in Mexico policy for it didn't affect Mexico the last time. Well, people did stay on the border towns. It affected them, but it didn't affect anything politically or nobody. So we'll have to see. And that reminds me of my question. How it is getting medical devices like hearing aids, et cetera, in Mexico, Guatemala, et cetera, that you know of. Actually, dying to retire, as far as medical equipment, you can get it here. It's not a problem. Hearing aids, I mean, literally Costco is here. In Costco, and I'm not trying to sell Costco, but Costco is very famous for their hearing aids in the sense that you can get hearing aids there. And the Costco here in Queretaro has a hearing aid department, has an optical, just like it does in the U.S. Sam's Club, the same thing. I think they have opticals and I don't know about hearing aids. So it is possible to get, and at decent prices too. Where you're going to run into problem with medical equipment or medical devices is probably going to be a little bit more towards the stuff that comes in that's imported. So it all depends, but there is good accessibility. Medical care is same thing. And the good thing about this is that now I do know that you're probably dealing with insurance dying to retire podcast, so it's a little bit different. But here, like I said, I need to go to an audiologist. I go straight to an audiologist. A consult's probably $80. And sometimes the consult doesn't even come out to my copay, so I don't even submit the claim for that. And if it doesn't even come out to my copay because the insurance company is not going to reimburse me on my FEHB. The only thing you have to be very cognizant of, and I think I've told you that before, dying to retire, is that you need to make sure that on your FEHB plan that you make sure that they cover you internationally, and also what kind of coverage they give you, because some like, I'm not sure about Blue Cross Blue Shield, but on some Blue Cross Blue Shield, they only cover 20% or 30%. I don't know about the FEHB plan. When I was on the FEHB Blue Cross Blue Shield and I was in Brazil, they covered me, that basically reimbursed me at 100%. And I now with Aetna, they reimburse me at 90%, and then the copays. So if I don't make the copay, if, for example, if I go to a doctor's visit for $80, they'll pay my copay is $35, I think. So they'll give me the $45. So you just need to, and also how the other thing dying to retire is how they reimburse you. Blue Cross Blue Shield, I think, does direct deposit. And mail handlers, which I'm under, does not do direct deposit, but I have a way because I have my checks sent to my son. My son can go to the bank and deposit them for me, so I don't have a problem. But if that's going to be an issue for you in coming to Mexico, make sure to do that. Hey, Buck Stops here. Great to see you again. Oh, Gringos R Us. My hearing aids ran about 1,700 pesos each. Great service and warranty. Gringos R Us, did you get them at Costco or the big box, at a big box place? Because I know everybody here talks about Costco. I do know that my dad got them at Costco in the U.S. I'm not too familiar with hearing aids. I'm probably going to need them. The reason why I talk so loud is because I probably have I have a very, very large hearing loss. Actually, before I continue, and I'm waiting for Gringos R Us to say if he got on my Costco, but I hear Costco is really good, and that's what everybody recommends here. Oh, Gringos R Us, nope, at an independent audiologist. Okay, great. So the special announcement. And actually, I got too tied up. What is it? LOL. Actually, Gringos R Us, it's a special announcement, and I think you already know what it is because we already talked about it. We are going to have a reunion in San Miguel de Allende on January 25th for anybody that wants to join us. We're going to, between Gringos R Us and myself, they're going to be in Queretaro at the time. We're going to plan to meet everybody. And January 25th, we're going to have a get together. I do know that Gringos R Us has indicated that several other YouTubers, maybe Mexico Relocation Guide, is very interested. So we all will be having a get together on the 25th. I'm going to find a place in San Miguel that we can all get together. And so one thing, if you are planning to Travelers of Mexico, yep. Hey, Roberto, how's it going? Oh, you're in Chile. Awesome. The Andes Mountains over to Argentina. Yeah, you know what? Have fun. Those mountains are beautiful. I've flown over them. It's beautiful. And great to see you, Roberto. Great to see you. Let me see here. And then the hearing aid thing, the independent. Dying to recover. Yeah, 1980s hearing protection for LEOs was not that great. And I can attest to that. I probably lost most of my hearing because of that. Actually, I'll tell you what, dying to retire, they actually, not till I got to Phoenix, it was probably until the 2000s that they started to really do any kind of, I know there was a big lawsuit. I came in the late 80s, in 87, and then the 90s, we were still very, and then I came into the Marshal Service, and we used to carry 357s, which are even louder than 9mm. And my hearing got beaten up really bad, to be honest with you, throughout my years in law enforcement. And not until about the 2000s, I do know that there was a big lawsuit over the hearing loss, and I didn't get in. I didn't get into service in time because you had to have been in from a certain time before a certain time to get a judgment. But a lot of my friends did. And that's probably why I ended up with bad hearing, and I'm going to need hearing aids eventually. A Mexico relocation guide, two travelers in Mexico, and truly remarkable life. Those are the couple that are coming probably to the reunion. So look forward to that. And great, Rick. We're pretty soon. I was telling Gringos or Us that I've been really busy with the house, but I will say that once we get unoccupied, and I got at the very end, I have a at the very end of this month, I have company coming in for Thanksgiving. So since my company's coming in for Thanksgiving this month, I'm probably going to not free up until December, but we're going to start putting everything together for the January 25th thing, start making plans, start getting a list of people that want to come, because we're going to need to get the amount of people and everything else so we can make reservations at the place. Another thing too is maybe being able to talk to some hotels or something to give a rate or block off rooms. We're gonna have to figure out how to do that. So we're gonna make plans. Oh wow, you were telling me that the other channels were interested, but that'll be awesome. Gringos are 6 or 7 channels. So, oh, okay. Ditto. Yeah, it was, yeah, I had a lot of hearing. Actually, to be honest with you, dying to retire is just a personal thing. When they did because I had already gotten out of the Marshal Service and I was already in customs when they decided to do all of these tests, these hearing tests and everything else, because it was part of this judgment on the hearing stuff. And it wasn't until I want to say early 2000s that they started really even doing anything and even requiring us, because when we would go to the range, we could put headphones on, earplugs, but towards the end of my career, we were required to put earplugs and the headphones. But when I did the hearing test in Phoenix, Arizona, they told me that if I would have applied at that time, that I wouldn't have passed the hearing test to even get in to the agency. Now, since I was already in the agency and everything else, they couldn't fire me. But that's how bad my hearing loss was from all of those years. And I had already been in 10 years, 11 years, 12 years when I actually took the test. So looking forward to it. I know someone who has a place where people can hold special events. He will roast a pig for us. Let me know if you're interested. Stephanie, I'm definitely interested, because that would be a great thing. We also have another place that's kind of out in the country, but we're going to have to see how many people want to come and see what kind of deals we can get for that amount of people. So, yeah, Stephanie, get the information to me and I can contact him. I speak Spanish and I can talk to him in Spanish. And there's a lot of places like that here. There's actually where I celebrated my birthday, my actual birthday, on that Friday. We went to a place that's it's a winery actually, and it's a small winery, and the only thing is it's out in the middle of nowhere. So depending on how many people we get, we're gonna have to see. But thanks. Pass me the information and we'll start getting prices and all of that stuff. So Stephanie, that would be great. Oh, this is close to us. Okay. Yeah, perfect. And this area is pretty nice especially if it's out in the country. That's another thing that's really neat about San Miguel. I know the Central would be cool. I mean, because we want to do something, of course, typical. But at the same time, one of the neat little things about San Miguel is coming out to the country, going to the wineries, all of that stuff. So We're going to have to figure out where we're going to do it. But that's my special announcement. January 25th. Mark it on your calendars. If you can make it, please do. I'm going to start probably what I'm going to do in the next couple of weeks in coordination with Gringos or Us. We're going to put some type of announcement out on our channels, see how many other channels are interested in starting to announce this, and then we'll start coordinating it. And actually, Gringos or Us, maybe we can start putting together a big WhatsApp group with the organized, with the different YouTube channels, the YouTubers and everything else, so we can actually communicate amongst each other. And actually, we could use the same group chat if you just want to add them. And then also maybe another, we can, as we get closer, we can start another WhatsApp group with all the people that are coming. So I hope it'll be a great event. It'll be a great time to meet a lot of you guys. This would be really great. I'll be pushing it on my lives and my socials as well, Gringos or Us, that you were saying you're going to be pushing it. And I'll probably get a little bit more active with you on WhatsApp once I get the house squared away. We're kind of in the problem I have right now is we're kind of in a race to beat. Next week, we have the countertops coming in. We have to empty out all of our cabinets and everything. We're even replacing our sink, our stove. It's going to be a mess. So we'll have to see what happens. We'll tell you. We'll give you the details. But I'm just got to get freed up from this stuff of fixing my house, and that way I can get more time to start organizing all of this stuff. So thank you guys for being here. Anybody have any other stuff or comments or questions? I'm coming up on an hour now. I always go a little bit over, but let me know. But that's a big announcement, is that we're going to have something on the 25th. I know a lot of people have said, hey, all the San Miguel people should get together. But, Gringos or Us had this idea of, hey, we got a lot of people that love to get together wherever. And so why don't we all do it together? And it would be a great thing, even for all the different YouTube channels to get together, even if it's just 3, like I said, the ones from Ajijic and some of the other ones. It would be great. So, like I said, it would be totally awesome. The more YouTube channels that participate, the better, and their viewers, and get to know the community. I'm very much into, to be honest with you, and yes, I do not attack, but I do call out several people or YouTubes or whatever. But like I said before, I don't do it out of for malicious reasons. I do it just to correct information, and I don't put any of those YouTubers down because they did it. It may sound like I did in my video because what they did maybe was a little bit wrong or incorrect or gave out the incorrect information. But I do this as a service to you guys to let you know what's correct. And so, but at the same time, I don't put any of those YouTubers down. I don't, I make express when I say this, or when I'm arguing with people, I say, look, I'm just talking about this video that they put out. I'm not talking about their career. I'm not talking about their reputation. I'm not talking about anything. All I'm talking about is this video. If you don't think the reputation is good anymore because of the video, that's fine. That's not my job. My job is to let you know the right information and make sure it gets out there. And I'm not always correct neither. So if someone corrects me, I'm the first one to step up and say I'm wrong. I expect other people to do the same. And I think it's for you guys. That's important. Let me see here. Jesse has one quick question. On the temp visa and bringing in an American car with a tip, how hard is it to get it fixed? Should stuff go wrong just from parts availability? I'll tell you what, Jesse, as far as getting the tip, if you get a temporary residency visa, what's going to happen if you go to the consulate and get temporary? Okay. let me explain the temporary resident visa versus the whole process. If you, Jesse, are going to go to the consulate and do the visa process where you apply for your temporary residency, what's going to happen is you will get a visa stamp in your passport, and then you're going to have to come into Mexico. You have 180 days to come into Mexico. And then when you come into Mexico, they will give you a 30-day permission to get to an INM office to fix up your temporary residency. When you get the tip, you're going to get the tip for the 30 days. They call that a canje, okay? When you get that tip for the 30 days, remember, it expires in 30 days. When you get your temporary residency, you'll have to go and you'll have to fix your tip again. But let's say they give you temporary residency for 1 year, because you usually it's for 1 year. Unless you're married to a Mexican citizen, it can be up to 2. They'll usually give you your temporary residence for 1 year. This is through the consulate process. And then you'll have to renew it in 1 year for up to 3 years. So your remaining 3 years of the visa. So let's say you get it for 1 year. You go back to the SAT office, depending where you do your residency, and you trade in your tip, you turn in your tip, your 30-day tip, and you get a new tip that's based on your 1 year residency. Now, let's say you come in to do the regularization program, and someone asked me that actually, are they going to continue the regularization program into 2025? And I'm going to answer that question. Jackie back. Are they going to consider the regularization program in 2025? Will it be extended? We don't know. The thing is it's the end of they're reevaluating it every 6 months. So we're going to have to see in January if it's still available. But Jesse, if you come in on the regularization program, if it's still around, then you will come in on your visitor's visa, whatever it might be, 180 days or 7 days. You will get your tip for that 7 days or that 180 days or that 3 months or that 1 month, whatever you get. And then once you regularize or you go through the regularization program and you're regularized and you get your temporary residency up to 4 years, you can get it up to 4 years directly. Then when you get your temporary residency, your 4-year temporary residency, you get your tip for that 4 years. But you have to go to the customs office. As far as getting your car fixed, depending on what kind of car it is, I mean, they have Chevrolet, Ford dealerships here, mechanics. They have an AutoZone. I have an AutoZone here in San Miguel de Allende that carries parts for American cars, BMWs, Mercedes-Benz. I have a Jeep Grand Cherokee. We have a Jeep dealership. I was getting it serviced here at the Jeep dealership. Now that I'm out of warranty on my Jeep, I can take it to a regular mechanic. I had an issue with my suspension, no problem in getting it fixed. And it's cheaper, a lot cheaper. So, and I'm going to go back to the regularization program. Jackie Beck, I'm sorry, I saw that and I wanted to answer that question. Apologize for not coming back to a little earlier because you had asked for it. Like I said, we're going to have to see. And the extension of this regularization program may be decided on the political environment right now. We're going to have to see. The one thing that I do see, to be honest with you, and like I said, we're going to have to see with the new administration. This is just a wild conspiracy theory, but I think the next residency thing is going to be people claiming asylum to come here if they can't meet the threshold. And I think things have gotten so polarized in the United States that in just being a Democrat, you can say, hey, I'm going to be persecuted. So I don't know. Someone might try that strategy. But as far as I don't see it happening real soon. I see it happening if it really gets really bad, or if this revenge thing that everybody talks about is going to happen amongst the Project 2025 and all of that stuff. But like I said, you have to see. One thing that I've noticed in politics, but the other thing too is Trump isn't your typical politician. One thing I've noticed in politics is there's a lot of talk and little or no action. And that's the problem. And all the talk is to please the voters, to keep them in office. And we used to have a saying, okay, in my agency, no case, no problem, big case, big problem. And that's the problem that we have with our Congress right now in the United States, that they don't want to tackle any of the issues. They want to talk about them. They want to put the other side down for them, but nobody really ever does anything. Because here's the thing, as for a Congress, and you can take the big case, big problem, no case, no problem, big case, big problem. Immigration, we pass a law, big problem. We don't do anything and we blame the other side, no problem. So we'll have to see. And the regularization program, it's still going strong and nobody said anything different. But it can go away at any moment. It's been slated to go away for a while now. But we're going to have to see if there's any kind of shift. We have a new president too. So, that's the problem. Yes. Yeah. They only wanted those issues to use as campaign fodder on both sides. And that's truth. And that's the truth. And I'm not going to, I don't go into politics. And like I said, I don't, you know what? I've seen a lot of things on the media. I stay away from the media, to be honest with you, because, if you listen to Fox News, the world's going to come apart because of the Democrats. Because of the Democrats. If you listen to CNN, the world's going to fall apart because of the Republicans. And it's very exhausting. Like, actually, Stephanie was reading my mind. It's very exhausting. I don't look at all those things. I look at what actually is happening. That's the way I gauge things. Trump can say he's going to deport 11 million people all he wants, but until I see him deporting people, am I going to say, oh, he's going to deport people? Because you don't know whether that's going to happen. And exactly what they said, Gringos R Us said, it's campaign fodder. The other side wants to let everybody in. We're going to not let anybody in. You know what? I went through, like I said, I went through everything from the Clinton administration, actually more the George Bush administration. I came on during the George Bush administration and George Bush Sr. So I've been through George Bush Sr., Clinton, the tail end of Clinton, George Bush Sr., I'm not going to count Clinton, George Bush Sr., George Bush Jr., Obama, and Trump was just getting in when I left. So I've been through 4 administrations. And to be honest with you, my job didn't change. And yeah, priorities changed, but my job didn't change. So, to affect change, we'll have to see. And even if it's radical change, someone has to be pretty radical to change it. So, will it happen? I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'm just saying that until we see that radical change, then I don't worry about it. I worry, like I said, I look at, I like to live in the present. What's happening now? I don't like to, and yes, I make some predictions, maybe what might happen with the peso. That's just talking points and everything else, but I can't tell you what's going to happen to the peso. I can't tell you what's going to happen in 180 days. I can tell you what's happening right now, but those are the things that we need to keep track of. I tell a lot of my friends that, you get everything from, the Democrats are sore losers to, I have friends on both sides, and to the, and they don't want to accept the loss. And I don't understand it because, if the Democrats would have won, it would have been election fraud. And I don't get it because, okay, why is the election fraudulent only when you lose? It doesn't make sense. But I get everything from that and that we're gonna have cheaper food and cheaper everything and cheaper gas. How do you know? You don't know. And then I get from the Democratic side, oh my God, they're gonna start deporting everybody. They're gonna denaturalize people. They're gonna start. Okay, but let's wait till we see it. Because what someone says politically and what someone does are two different things. I've even seen it here in Mexico. I've seen the president of Mexico blast the United States, but on the other hand, they're letting everybody in and they have a regularization program. And okay, when when they arrested Miles Zamada, the cartel leader, the president of Mexico said he was going to grab the people responsible and get them for treason here in Mexico. Did you see anything happen? No. So, those are all political things. I don't get involved in that. And until we start seeing it, and if the regularization program goes away, I will be the first to let you know. If I don't do a video, which I haven't been able to be on, I'm getting on every Sunday. You guys have any kind of, or if I hear anything new, I will let you know. If we're coming to the end of the year, we don't know what the increase in minimum wage is going to be. If there's an increase in, also there's been some changes in the exchange rate. So I'll let you know what the financial requirements are next year. They were supposed to do away with the minimum wage several years ago. They didn't do it. So I don't want to. I don't want to. I can get hopeful, and we can all get hopeful that it's all going to be okay. But if it's not okay, oh well. I mean, we just have to live with it and figure out how to, just be informed, be well informed, and be able to do what we need to do to live our lives the best we can. So with that, I'm going to leave you. It's been an hour and 11 minutes. Thank you guys for joining me. I'll see you next Sunday unless something comes up. Yep. Emulate the Mexican people. Love your neighbors. Yeah, and that's the best thing to do. And I think there's a lot of people in the United States. I mean, regardless of the political rhetoric, there's a lot of people in the United States that love Mexico. There's a lot of people in Mexico that love the United States. So hopefully we can live that way instead of living in constant hate or fear. And I'm telling you, it comes from both sides. I'm not going to make one or the other side. I even said this. One of the biggest things that we have to fear right now with the political climate in the United States is violence, political violence. And you might say, oh, well, the right, they're the violent ones. No, you know what? The left, you're going to start having demonstrations. We might see another 60s period again, where there's a lot of people demonstrating against the system. That's an American right. But what happened in the 60s, there was a government trying to control it. And even if you would have gotten a Democratic winner even if you would have kept the same administration, there would have been the right that would have been protesting and everything else. I just think the protests have gotten a little bit out of hand. And have become more violent and a little bit more polarized. So those are the things that people are going to have to, and yeah, it takes two sides to fight and neither one wins. That's the truth. And I can tell you that from my martial arts career. Yeah, not a problem. Cindy, great to see you. I know you missed the last couple of lives. It was great to see you. I'll be on next week on Saturday, and I'll give my regards. My beautiful, wonderful wife that supports me in this endeavor. So, like I said, let's all be kind to each other and enjoy Mexico. And if you want to move here, you know what? This is the best decision I've ever made. So until next time, like I always say, stay safe and stay informed.